Hey guys, it's Sarah Black from Crossfit Big City. We're going to go over some mobility prep for 17.5, which is 10 rounds of 9 thrusters and 35 double unders. So pretty simple workout, but a lot of volume. So you're going to get your joints prepped and primed for a taxing workout. So keys we're going to work on is some ankle and foot control, which is going to help you not only in the double unders, but if we get some better movement through our ankles and our hips, it will put us in that better front rack position to not tax our shoulders so much in those thrusters. Okay, so we're going to start with some intrinsic foot control and flexion and extension. So you're going to go socks off for this one. And we prefer to do it in standing since we're going to be weight bearing in this workout. But if you really struggle, go down to non-weight bearing to see what kind of foot control you have. So you're going to start by pressing the little toes into the ground as you lift your big toe off the ground. Okay, and I'm doing this without rotating my feet, so I'm keeping that nice tripod with that lateral foot, medial foot, and the heel. So I'm pushing down and lifting up. I'm going to hold for 10 seconds. Okay, then I'm going to go opposite direction, so I'm going to keep that big toe down, and the tendency is going to want to roll your feet in. Make sure you keep that tripod as you lift those little toes up. And we're just going to play with that for a couple minutes, back and forth, to get those toes firing, so that you save your calves during those double unders. All right. Next thing we're going to do is some ankle mobility. We did this last week with some pails and rails with a bent knee. So we're targeting more of the joint. So if you want to target more of the joint, flip back to 17.4. We also did a bit of a mobilization in that position as well. This time we're going to tax those calves. So we're going to have a slight bend in the knee, but we're targeting the muscle a little bit more this time. And then we're going to push our foot down into the ground like a gas pedal, holding for 10 seconds while maintaining tension everywhere else. And then we're going to try and lift our foot off of the ground using the front of the shin. So that tibialis anterior, that's really important for double unders as well, and often not trained. So that's what we're training in this position. Then we're going to try and sink deeper into that stretch. Again, only a slight bend in the knee so that we still get that gas drop. Okay, and then repeat 3 times each side. All right, then we're going to integrate this with some toe squats, which we also did last week, but it's going to be important to load that foot again. So we're going to come up and squat down, holding 10 seconds, and then come back up. Okay, so you might want to play in different positions. Last week we did it to warm up our squat. This week we're doing double unders, so it might be worth doing it at a narrower stance, and you'll get that different tension on the plantar fascia. All right, moving on to the front rack position. With a thruster, the lats are really important in this workout. Because they span all the way from the pelvis to the shoulder, they're going to be taxed throughout this entire movement. And it's even harder to push overhead when you're in a hip flex position because the lats are being lengthened at the hip as well as the shoulder. So we're going to work on some lat extensibility and then transfer that into that front rack position. So we're going to go into child's pose. And we can do this with a dowel if you struggle with that lat flexibility to get those palms facing forward. And we're going to do our pails and rails. So our first contraction is going to be contracting the lats. So we're going to pull our elbows down and push our elbow into the ground, holding for 10 seconds. So I'm pulling down, I'm pushing down, I'm contracting those lats. And then my second contraction is going to be trying to work on the regressive tissue, so opposite. So we're going to push the dowel forward and try to lift up. So So now I'm pushing forward and trying to lift the dowel off the ground. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't go off the ground because we're in our passive end range. Okay, so we're gonna try and lift and push forward, working on strengthening that shoulder when the lats are under full tension. So we'll do 3 times 10 seconds each direction at about 50% tension. Then I'm gonna actually jump ahead and do some squat pails and rails first so that you can integrate that into the full front rack position. So we're gonna be in our butterfly. Okay, really trying to open up the hips. Again, if we can get a good position with our hips and our upper back, then we can save those shoulders through that thruster. Okay, so we're gonna open up the hips. So your pails, you're gonna bring your elbows to your knees. You're gonna push your knees into your elbows as hard as you can, holding for 10 seconds. Remembering to breathe. And then your rails, you're gonna try and pull your knees apart, squeezing those glutes towards the ground. Okay, repeat 3 times. And then we're gonna integrate those 2 into our front rack position and our squat. Okay, so you're gonna set up a barbell in the squat rack. You're gonna come into your squat position, and the position you're gonna do in your squat is the rails. So we're gonna, similar to the butterfly, pull our knees apart, making sure we keep contact with our feet on the floor and not roll out. Okay, so we're gonna squeeze those glutes at the same time as lifting up through our upper back. So I'm going to be in this position here. Okay, I'm pulling apart, so this is my rails for the squat, for hip abduction, at the same time as I'm trying to lift my elbows off of the barbell. Okay, and I'm lifting through my upper back versus lifting through my shoulders. So we don't want to see this. We want to see extension through the upper back. Okay, so I'm doing 2 simultaneous contractions, T-spine extension, hip abduction, 10-second holds 3 times. All right, hopefully by working on some of that positional stuff, you can stay more upright, those shoulders won't fatigue as much, but we know that's still gonna be the limiting factor in this workout. So we're gonna do some shoulder cars, which you would have seen a few weeks ago, but we'll go over them again because they're great for warming up those shoulders, especially at end range flexion. So you're gonna make a fist, pointing the thumb backwards, creating tension in the rest of the body. So all of that energy is going towards the joint we're training. Then we're going to flex the shoulder as high as we can go. Once we can't go any further, we're gonna screw that fist into the ceiling. So we're externally rotating the shoulder. Thumb is pointing back again. And we're gonna continue through that range without rotating through the trunk. So we're getting shoulder movement only. Okay, we're gonna do that at about 50% tension, or as if you're moving through water, and 3 times each side. Last thing we're gonna do is some shoulder flexion, passive range liftoffs. And we're gonna use a dowel for this. So we're going to go in the stance the grip stance that we do our thrusters in. So find that there. Then we're gonna come over to a squat rack. You're gonna use a block. And you're gonna pin that block between your chest and the squat rack. And what that's gonna do is prevent you from overextending through the lumbar spine as you go overhead. Okay, so I'm pushing my chest into the block. So that's keeping my ribs stacked over my pelvis. Creating tension in the shoulders. So I want my armpits facing forward. So I want to engage those lats to create a good shelf with my shoulders versus rotating in like so. Okay, so that's a common compensation we'll see to get end range of motion, but we want to stay stacked so that we're not stressing that shoulder. So block is stacked here. and then creating tension. I'm gonna try and lift off as much as I can. If I start compensating, that block's gonna fall, okay? We're gonna do 10-second holds, 3 reps, and then you can transition into your general warm-up. Some other things that you might wanna work on is some peanut work, so that 2 lacrosse balls or 2 tennis balls prior to doing your front rack position. Okay, so we went over that in week 1, and you can find that on the YouTube channel. And yeah, good luck. Last one, so give it your all, and you'll be able to find the full video on Athletic Therapy Plus on YouTube, and we'll post some tidbits on Instagram through the weekend.